Europe is experiencing heat like we have never seen before. Now, we are reporting to you from a small island off the coast of Madagascar in Africa. But most people think that Africa is the place that's hot, but Europe right now is hotter than 99% of the earth. And in fact, Spain's heat wave just killed over 1,000 people in just days. France is experiencing, they're counting over 1,000 bodies at least right now that have been impacted by this heat wave. We're going to break it down in this video. If you're an expat, an entrepreneur, an investor, you want to pay attention to this information because obviously you want to reside and invest in areas that are not under divine judgment. I'm reading from ampdw.com. The Spanish heat wave kills over 1,000 people in the second hottest ever June that the continent of Europe has ever experienced in recorded history. At least 1,028 people died during Spain's recent heat wave as the country has endured its hottest January to June period on record. Scientists say the extreme heat wave across Europe was driven by none other than climate change. I want you to leave a comment down below. Let us know if you believe this is climate change, or let us know if you think this is something different or a conglomeration of different things happening, because Spain is hotter than Africa. France is hotter than Africa. Yeah. The United Kingdom is hotter than Africa, and reports are coming out that this heat wave is about to touch down in America and India as well, while the geographical location of Southern Africa comes out unscathed. Actually, we're kind of in winter right now. We're in like the rainy season.
I'll say this, year after year, you can kind of see the signs, because I believe last year it was some heat waves places. So I can't imagine how next year is going to be, because this is a lot of deaths.
Wow.
This is a lot of deaths that's happening, and people really got to understand, like, man, this is, it sounds very
biblical.
Yeah.
Divine judgment.
Divine judgment.
It sounds like the type of thing where you start to understand, if you're an area that has a lot of atheists or has people that just don't believe in reality the way the scripture says it. I mean, this is making it very, very clear, like a Sodom and Gomorrah type scenario type of thing that we have going on here. That's what it reminds me of on a biblical proportion. And we are the generation that is alive to see it today. And the questions that we ask ourselves and our family, our children, the generations before us is, where do I want to be in these times? I'm going to continue reading, because listen to this. We know that more than 1,000 people died from the heat-related causes. May they rest in peace if they have been bidden that during the recent heat wave in Spain, as they recorded their hottest year ever. Now, Spain's Carlos III Health Institute said in a report that the 1,028 heat-related deaths were reported during the heat wave just in the last 30 days. This number was more than double the 407, this is touching on what you were talking about, the 407 people that died back last year on June 2025. So we've exceeded that number. We've doubled it. We're probably going to triple it here soon, because on June 23rd, you had the peak of this heat wave. 35.7 million people, which make up 73% of Spain's population, were exposed to this health risk. Spain's National Weather Advisory or agency said in a post on X that last month was the country's hottest June on record. The first half of 2026 becomes the warmest for the whole of Spain since records began. And we know Spain,
breaking records,
France, these are ancient countries. I mean, these countries have been around for quite some time. These are ancient cultures in Europe that have never seen this before. And so you're going to see a lot of diaspora begin to exodus from Spain, from France, from the United Kingdom, because whenever you have something like this occur in the world, similar to how the pandemic did in 2019, 2020, it makes you have pause and sit and say, something's not quite right here. Let me readjust and just ask the Most High Yah, where should I be? Like, what should I be doing? Where would you lead me? Because I don't want to get scorched. If this is what it is in 2026, like you were saying, can people live there in 2027 by the time June comes next year?
Exactly. Yeah. And if you are tuning in from France, from UK, from Spain, leave a comment below and let us know, like, how are you dealing with this? Because we seen a couple of videos, I believe it was like shorts or maybe TikToks or something like that, where people was running into stores fighting over ACs, You get what I'm saying? And then we seeing videos. Well, maybe that's a different European country,
That was
but
France with the air conditioners.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm talking about in like the FIFA Cup in America, and people going to America saying like, "Wow, we don't have AC in Europe,"
They don't.
and it's like, dang,
They don't.
this is like crazy. So that's why it's important to travel and see how other people live, like the other side of the world lives, because just think, people cannot, they don't have AC, they can't cool down. So they're probably just filling up their bathtubs and just sitting in there for, a couple minutes, couple hours just to cool off. And yeah, this
Mm.
sun, even right now, it's not that hot because as you guys see, the wind is blowing, so we can appreciate this sun because the wind is blowing. But I can't imagine if this wind is not blowing and it's like what, over 100
110
degrees,
degrees.
110 degrees. Wow.
Mm. And
That's
then the
that's the type
buildings are
of,
concrete
yeah, that's the type of weather where you can crack an egg on the ground
and cook
and
it.
cook it and fry it.
Yeah,
Man,
absolutely. And
man.
then they're going to be plunged into the winter. Those are such extreme temperature changes that they're
Yeah, that's
experiencing in
bipolar
Europe. It really seems
confusion.
like it. Like there's just a extreme like heat, extreme winter. But get this, the World Health Organization has blamed the heat wave for more than 1,300 additional deaths across the continent of Europe. Of course, with that number likely to rise. Now, the extreme heat broke all-time temperature records in several European countries, including, list these out, y'all. Get your notes. Germany,
Mm.
Poland,
Hmm.
the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary, with France experiencing the highest ever nightmare temperature. So France is really just the nucleus of it all, right? It's really the nucleus of that judgment that Yah is allowing to come from the sun, and then it's expanding
Mm.
from France. France is kind of the powerhouse of Europe, I would say. The United Kingdom is
Oh
a very
yeah,
close number
yeah.
one, number two, but France is really the powerhouse of Europe that has went about and colonized areas of the world that us as Americans didn't realize. France colonized Vietnam, not just Africa. France
Yeah.
colonized some island nations out here. France colonized some areas down
Everywhere.
in Asia. Like
Yeah.
they colonized everywhere, and you just have to wonder, like, when does Yah say it's enough? And obviously, He said, in this generation, it is enough. This generation, I'm gonna flip the script and I'm gonna
Scorch the
put
earth.
the
Yeah.
blessings on Africa, and I'm allow the West to fall, but the West doesn't realize how they're gonna fall. Even though it's prophesied in Revelations, there's a verse that talks about the vials. Feel free to leave it down below. If you are a Revelations reader, then you know those vials are supposed to be heat waves that come from the sun. The messengers unleash the vials and heat attacks the earth, decimating 1/3 of
Mm.
Earth's population. And I would say it just looks like we're just ramping up to the beginning of that, because of course this probably will progress next year where you're really going to see those populations increase.
Yeah.
And so if you are somebody that's in the West and you see what's happening, then this is a good time to say, okay, maybe I should just go to the only place on the map currently, check it out right there in the yellow, the only places currently not experiencing that level of heat are Southern Africa and the Nordic nations, like Norway is not under that heat. But even America is about to get slammed. But you also need to learn about something called El Nino.
Look, you said something very, very important. These Western nations is under judgment, and there's another nation continent that is growing. So I know that's Africa, guys.
Yeah.
So you need to realize things do take time. Just from last year, we always come on here and give you guys the information, the numbers and stuff. The GDP of Africa outgrew the whole world's GDP. That should tell you how the Most High is moving right now. Things are happening in the West.
Yeah.
Judgment is upon the West, the colonizers. You get what I'm saying? And it's nothing. It's This is just the truth. This is reality. We see it. We see the signs. Africa is growing at a large rate, a fast rate.
Rapid.
So yeah, it's, for me, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. Check, look, go to this map and say, huh, I need to do some research. I need to talk to these people that's in this area so I can see how I'm gonna not be judged in a way when next year comes around. because this
Yeah.
is year to year. Numbers are
Yeah.
increasing, deaths are increasing.
Stats don't lie. I'm so glad you said that. Statistics don't lie at the end of the day. And if you relocate to somewhere that's not the best option, you will be, unfortunately, that
Mm.
damage, that collateral damage is just like, man, I didn't realize they were
Yeah, that's a
going through
good part.
this,
Yep.
right? This is why we teach our clients in the Mature Adult Intensive, which comes up this Sunday, three seats still available, anti
Mm.
corruption, going to places that are neutral for Americans, going to
Ooh.
places that are visa free for Americans, going to places that are not under divine judgment, like a Mauritius, Africa, and are also giving you, not just Americans, but most people on earth, a 10-year self employed entrepreneur permit if you have your business together and you put 50K in the bank. A 10-year retiree
Mm.
permit if you get your background check before you leave America. Plan diligently on the American side, get your paperwork in, and you get that permit, and it's the easiest thing. How do we know? Because hundreds of people have already gone through the process,
Yeah.
okay, that we are in contact with, that we helped on the American side coaching, because sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
like, hey,
Need that
I'm
community.
59 years
Yeah.
old and I've never done something like this. It's been a while since I took my last vacation, my last cruise. I've just been here. Maybe you were dealing with health problems. Maybe you're dealing with grandchildren, family, but you're like, I know I need to exit, but you need that next level coaching that's like, hey, I'm here to hold your hand. It's all right. This is what we're going to get done each and every week during this 4 week session that we have
Mm.
together, talking market sophistication, geopolitical insights, how to
Logistics. Yeah.
maneuver in the times where Iran is at war with the US. We have helped a plethora of people already. Visit www.journeywithus, move to africa.com/services to read the enrollment guide. Worst case scenario, you learn some new information on that enrollment guide and you're like, wow, this website is an absolute resource. Best
Mm.
case scenario, in the next 4 weeks, you're hopping on a plane to exit America and to go live your best life abroad with a 10-year residency in mind.
And I think a lot of people like it. It doesn't like register anti-corruption.
Mm,
Look, this is at a spiritual level that I'm
yeah.
talking about right now. You do not want to be corrupt in these last days.
Mm,
So go to the places
mm.
that is least corrupt.
Facts.
Like
Just from a
that.
spiritual
Yeah,
law
that's
standpoint.
fact. That like really
Woo, that's
100%.
spiritual.
You know, I know we say it all the time, but it's getting down to that time where in the last days,
Mm,
if you are corrupt, you will
mm.
continue to be corrupt.
Woo.
So this
Psalms
is why
18.
this is why we say strive for righteousness, stay
Wow.
on this narrow path.
Mm.
You have to have wisdom, be diligent, have discernment, and listen. That's why I just had to say that. Like, I know that probably went over a lot of people's head,
Mm.
but that's a spiritual thing right there.
Yeah.
Don't go to places that's super corrupt.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Period. Not all money's good money. Period. That's so good. We need to move on because
Yeah,
I know
El
you're
Nino.
wondering about why this is happening in the first place. And this is not the end, friends. This is the very beginning.
Hmm.
This is why we're telling you, you may want to come down here on this side of the globe where we're kind of chilling. We're kind of chilling in Mauritius, Africa. They
Island
kind of
lifestyle.
chilling in
Yeah.
Seychelles, Africa. They chilling in South Africa and Lesotho. What's the other country that's in South Africa, but it's a sovereign nation? Eswatini. They're
Oh,
chilling in these places. Why? Because they're not under this extreme heat wave. In these places, you're having snow, you're having seasons, you're having regular weather, you're having streams of rainfall, you're having just agricultural
and that's
stuff
important.
popping
Yeah.
off. Because remember, with the heat wave, your crops are getting killed, your famines hitting Europe and America simultaneously. But not only that, I'm going to popularmechanics.com. Get this: 150 years ago, a super El Nino killed 50 million people. The next one, guess when it's coming? They say it's right around the corner. Now let me read this full article because this totally shocked me. I don't see people talking
Mm-hmm.
about this, but I think expats need to be aware of this. Like, if
Yeah.
you're an expat person who watches and talking about this, you probably need to turn it off because these heat waves are affecting the entire earth. And it's not only the heat wave, we also have super storm El Nino that's going to plague the
Yeah.
ocean again, like it did
Man.
150 years ago. See, from 1876 to 1878, a strong El Nino wreaked havoc on the tropics. In the past 150 years, humanity has faced a plethora of calamities. The first half of the 20th century was an absolute horror story, with 2 world wars alone killing upwards of 100 million people, the Spanish influenza epidemic of 1918, The 1919 killing as many as 50 million people. But before these mass casualties was an unknown global catastrophe that wiped out millions of people in just a span of 3 years. Now, that number three is prophetic because it actually talks about that in the book of Revelations, but I digress. From 1876 to 1878, a global famine wreaked havoc on Asia, South America, and Northern Africa, cutting short the lives of an estimated 50 million people. It was arguably the worst environmental disaster to ever befall humanity and one of the worst calamities of any sort in the last 150 years. Okay? That's from the authors of a research article in the Journal of Climate wrote in their paper. In a very real sense, the El Nino and climate events of 1876 through 1878 helps create the global inequalities that would later be characterized as first world and third world. Now, most are familiar with the mechanisms behind the El Nino La Nina cycle in the Pacific Ocean, known more formally as the El Nino Southern Oscillation, ENSO. Normally, trade winds across the Pacific Ocean move east to west, helping to build up those warm waters in the Western Pacific. But in other years, these trade winds weaken, which causes the unusual, get this, swelling of cold water near Southern America to stop. In North America, this means warmer weather in the Northwest. Woo! And Midwest flooding conditions in the Southwest and down into Florida. The entire continent of the Americas getting plagued. La Nina, as you expect, is the opposite, where trade winds are stronger than usual, pushing warm water towards Asia and bringing colder weather conditions to the North U.S. and drier, warmer conditions in the American South. Okay?
Yeah, guys, look, it's all tied together. That's what I hear. Like,
Yeah.
when it comes down to this, that's a lot of information that people don't realize that is important. Like, this is telling you the patterns of weather and how things heat up, how certain parts of lands gets flooded, because it is floods right now, and I believe Tennessee, Kentucky, and things. So there's heat waves, floods, there's
It's
earthquakes,
all related.
there's nation rise against nation. That sounds
Biblical proportions. I don't know who says the Bible isn't real because I mean,
Yeah,
if you don't see the Bible very
it
clearly
all
lets you
ties
know.
together.
Wow. Now they're saying that it could be tempting to shrug it off like people who just don't believe. You know what the
Of
scripture
course, yeah.
says about non-believers, their days won't be very long. A 2020 study in the same Journal of Climate found, oh gosh, y'all get ready, hit the like button, share this with 30 people. It found that El Nino was not significantly greater than three other Super Nino events in 1982, 1997, 2015, 2016. Now we're coming back to it in 2026, 2027. Okay? Modern agriculture tracks these ENSO changes, and no one is predicting the scale famine that happened last time. But that doesn't mean this new El Nino isn't without risks. And today, countries around the world are still taking lessons from the global devastation 150 years in the past.
Woo, that's deep. Because when you start to really think about
You gotta
America too,
prepare. You gotta prepare.
yeah, you got to prepare. And the farmers, they're already saying that they're behind. Like they're not going to be able to produce for next year and stuff like that. And
that was
then the
just from the
weather,
oil.
yeah, it's all tied together, guys. Go somewhere where it's going to be abundant. Go somewhere where you can throw a seed in the ground and it grows.
Go somewhere you can fish.
Yeah.
Go somewhere where there's a network, where there's anti-corruption, where people aren't going to steal from you, haggle you.
Yeah.
It's not the time. America's chaos like that. South Africa's currently chaos like that. There's nations on the earth that you just shouldn't be in right now if you understand the times that are coming. If you're in a nation that's corrupt or has a lot of theft, has a lot of issues, then you know it gets worse in those places. Like being in the United States, y'all already know how it is. Leave a comment down below. If you are a prepper, you know you have to have your ammo, your stuff that you need, because you know the folks are going to come for you because they've been watching that you're a prepper.
Yeah, that's important.
That's what made us say we need to go to the continent of Africa and we need to choose a low-key country that people don't think about.
Yeah, and then I saw a video. This is why I was laughing. Like nothing is funny, but this was kind of funny because it they were reacting to a video saying like, it's getting bad in America when a white male snatches someone's purse. And I'm like,
Why?
dang, that's deep.
No,
Like
that's
really,
true.
yeah, it's like
Yeah, you don't see that a lot.
people are really getting desperate that way, where like they're just acting out of character in a way.
Mm,
And it's getting deep.
mm,
So, and it's summertime,
yeah.
you know, 250 years of
Woo.
America.
Yeah, this is the 250 year
But
anniversary,
we gonna
y'all.
talk about that in the next one.
Yeah, next video.
Next video. So guys, make sure you
Subscribe.
subscribe, like the video, leave your comments below. Let us know if you are thinking about traveling to the continent. Check the links in the description, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
Shalom.
Shalom.